crypto was dead for a long time, especially like things like Ethereum. Ethereum, by the way, has woken up tremendously. But even Bitcoin, you can see Bitcoin for the longest time was just going like this, basically 2 to 3 weeks of just sideways chop. It obviously took off to the upside. Now, altcoins have followed suit with some big, big gains. Now, for altcoin investors, that's great to see. In fact, we had Ethereum, we had Near Protocol and Smart Money Crypto, so that was nice. We got some good gains out of that. But
Gareth Soloway breaks down his top crypto trade ideas, chart setups, and market timing. Let's dive in and catch the edge.
the problem with altcoins making a move, that happens when when investors are willing to take on the most amount of risks. If you ranked all the risk assets, it would be like, obviously bonds are the safest, kind of the thought process here. Gold is kind of the safest as well. Then you get to stocks, which are small caps are the riskiest, then mid caps, then large caps, then mega caps. Then you get into crypto, okay, Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin has run. And the point being is that what we're seeing here is that one asset runs one day, then the next riskiest one runs the next day, then the next riskiest runs the next day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And eventually when you get to the riskiest runners, the market oftentimes has run out of juice because everything has run, and now investors are so into risk that there's nowhere else to go, and that's when you see the market start coming in. So even though Bitcoin's had a great move up here, and it could continue in the near term, it's a warning sign for me that altcoins are starting to pump significantly. Like I saw Pepe, a lot of these crap coins, these meme coins, they're really starting to run. That's not a healthy sign for the market. In fact, it might be telling us that we're getting close to the end of this bull run, not only in crypto, but more so in the stock market. And that's more the signal for the stock market that I want to draw your attention to. Okay, so as we go up, the big level, obviously, you have this high and this high. There's a trend line here that's right around 109. And if we did go up and pierce the all-time high, where would the significant line be? This high and this high. This trend line up here extends all the way back to 2017 bull market high and then the 2021 highs. It connects right through this high, right through this high. And likewise, if we were to trade up, that would be a major, major resistance level at 113 on Bitcoin. All right. And again, remember, I'm a short-term trader. Doesn't mean where Bitcoin's going to be in 6 months or a year or 5 years from now. Probably a lot higher, frankly, in 5 years from now. But again, as a short-term trader, I'm looking for where can I take advantage of a pullback and then go long at support and short at resistance, go long at support, and just play the back and forth on the chart. So keep an eye on this on Bitcoin, but also keep an eye on risk assets as they've all really started to run. We've even seen a lot of like the Rigettis, the quantum stocks that, again, were hallmarks of the stock market when we were at all-time highs in December, in early January. Those are all starting to run as well. And again, to me, that's the beginning of a caution sign in the markets, in investing. Okay, it's not a red alert like run away, but just be aware here. We know the S&P's at a key level, and we know that we're getting these other signals. Just be aware, and that's what I want to pass along to you guys.
Bitcoin's dominance in the crypto market could be on the verge of a dramatic shift, according to crypto analyst EGREG Crypto. He warns that a major drop in Bitcoin's market share might soon trigger one of the most explosive altcoin rallies we've ever seen. As capital flows away from Bitcoin, altcoins like XRP could see a surge in investment, potentially delivering massive returns. But EGREG is also urging caution, because when the tide turns, it often turns fast. His analysis points to chart patterns signaling an unprecedented fall in dominance, one that could unleash the long-awaited alt season. However, while the gains could be staggering, EGREG stresses the importance of locking in profits before the market hits a blow off top. Once that happens, a sharp correction could follow, leaving latecomers with heavy losses. To weather the storm, EGREG recommends rotating into assets with real-world value, things like property, commodities, and cryptocurrencies with solid utility. He specifically highlights gold as a strategic play, suggesting an ideal buying range between $1,850 and $2,000 if prices dip. As the crypto market prepares for a possible reshuffle, he advises staying flexible and ready for both the upside and the crash that might follow. For those who plan wisely, this could be a rare opportunity to thrive amid the chaos.
Tesla's an interesting one. It was very, very strong early in the day, still having a good day up about 5%. But the question is it running into resistance, okay? And the bigger question I have is, are we actually forming a bear flag? And again, I'm just posing this, but it is kind of interesting to kind of think about that maybe that's what this is going on here. It's kind of inside bar consolidation from our big drop right here. Now, listen, that's neither here nor there in the short term. The one thing I did want to show you guys is a trend line on Tesla that actually is very interesting to me and marks today's high. Look at this. Major pivot right here before the big takeoff on stocks with the election. We then came down, we broke below it, resistance rejected, coming up, and look at today's high right into that line. So this is going to be an interesting level. Watch the 307 to 308 level on Tesla next week to see if it can actually push through that, or does it get rejected. If it pushes through, the next level would be around 328. And then potentially up to about 377. But this, again, to me, could be also a megaphone pattern, which is a bearish one in this case because, again, it's inside of this big move down. Flipping over to check in on NVIDIA here, I continue to overall think the NVIDIA bounce is much weaker than a lot of things we've seen bounce here, and I do think that is a precursor to further downside. Like I've said in previous game plans and weekly wrap-ups, this trend line is paramount to me, right? It's an amazing trend line going back to 2023, basically connects through all the lows, including the April 7th gap down low. And as long as NVIDIA holds above this 91-ish level, technically you'd buy pullbacks into it. But if it breaks this line and confirms, downside could be swift. I ultimately think this is eventually going to about $50 per share, which is amazing because that would bring it back to about a $1 trillion company, which is pretty astounding.
Bitcoin and Ethereum have been flying high, wiping out nearly $1 billion in short positions during a dramatic short squeeze on May 8. Traders betting against the rally were caught off guard, with 80% of those liquidations coming from shorts. But while the bulls were celebrating, some experts warned the real plot twist might still be ahead. Technical indicators are flashing red. The Relative Strength Index, RSI, on both BTC and Ethereum is sitting deep in overbought territory, a level that often signals a loss of momentum. The on-balance volume, OBV, is also beginning to flatten out, hinting that buying pressure may be weakening. Meanwhile, open interest has climbed to $137.44 billion, a sign that leverage is creeping back in, a dangerous mix at support levels on hold. Already, Ethereum saw over $61 million in long liquidations in just 24 hours, and Bitcoin lost over $600,000 in a few hours. If momentum stalls, this could be the setup for a new wave of liquidations. Whales are now taking calculated shots. One just moved $13 million USDC to Hyperliquid to short both BTC and Ethereum, betting on a reversal. If smart money doesn't step in to reignite the rally, we could be looking at the beginning of a cascading meltdown, with bulls paying the price for their earlier victory. That's all for today's video. Until next time.